Yo, it's that time. Get ready to unwind with Jillian on the mic. The best you'll find. Pop that cork. Let's start to chat on the Polywine podcast where it's all that. Join the crew as we dive into the scene. Current events heated, know what I mean? Jillian sitting pretty while pouring the wine. Hot topics bubbling, everything aligns. From politics to the latest in fame. Reality TV, it's never the same. Grab your glass, let's raise it high. In the world of crazy, we're never.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on Polywine, where we'd like to take a deep dive into stories pulled from the media and have a fun time while breaking it down. I'm Jillian, and let's get into it. Well, here in the States, we are in the final leg of our summer, and it has been a hot one, a scorcher, and I'm talking record temperature highs, triple digits that have lasted pretty much throughout most of the summer. And when we talk about weather, it has been pretty powerful storms up and down the East Coast. The Midwest has been ripped apart with terrible tornadoes. And out west, they've had raging wildfires. So let's get over to you, Washington State, because all eyes are on you in the Spokane area. In Washington State, they have been hit hard with wildfires that are causing massive devastation. And it is so sad to see. We are thinking of you, Washington. The images that are coming out of the news, it's bad. It's really bad. I was watching the news throughout the weekend, trying to kind of keep an eye on what's happening, and the images are just getting worse and worse. And they were interviewing this one local gentleman, and I think it was an NBC affiliate. And he was saying, look, we've had wildfires in this area before, but this is like apocalyptic. It looks like a nuclear bomb detonated here. And the camera pans over to an area that was hit by the wildfire, and it was just ash, and so sad. We are thinking of you. Our hearts are with you, but, we are really thinking about the emergency responders out there and to the emergency efforts following that. It seems like we're talking more and more frequently about these extremely destructive natural disasters of the wildfires. This one here in Washington, we've recently talked about the ones in Colorado, Arizona. How can we forget about the images that are seared into our mind about Southern California, and the ones in Hawaii just a short time ago. So it does seem like we're talking about these extremely destructive natural disasters, and we need to think about this coming up in these midterm elections, how we respond to these natural disasters and how we respond to aid and rebuilding. Just think about all the funding that has been cut recently with a lot of these programs. So think about that approaching the midterms. And not only are we having just this extreme devastation out in Washington State, what about over in Greece? Have you seen the wildfires happening in Greece? Oh, this beautiful historic areas are being completely wiped out by the wildfires there. And not only are you having the devastation with that, did you see the images? Oh, there were two helicopters that were aiding in the efforts of these wildfires, that it was caught on camera, that they collided and ended up killing two pilots that were there to help and aid in the wildfires. Just so sad to see what's happening, and then to see just an accident like that when they're just trying to help so many. Just sad all the way around. So we are thinking of you there in Greece. Mother Nature, she has been rough this summer, but think about that again when you are in the voting booth with upcoming elections. Please think about the funding recovery, and we need to put back the money that was cut from a lot of these organizations, okay? But us, we're talking about money, right? There's a lot of money going into DC and all around these beautification projects. We talk about the arch, we talk about the reflecting pool, we talked about the ballroom. The list keeps going on. And now we are going to add the Washington Dulles International Airport to that list of beautification projects. And right now, that number is kind of topping off, and this is the quote, about $22 billion for renovations, expansion, and that's a big number. Very, very big number. And I was like, why is this now on the list of beautification? And good question. Good question. And I've been talking to a lot of people recently about all these projects that's going on. Are these projects, the beautification projects in the reflecting pool, the arch, the ballroom, this, that, is that a distraction for some of the really big issues that are going on right now that Trump really should be focused on, like the economy, the war in Iran, what's happening here, immigration, you name it, so many other major issues that we can focus on that affect us here in the States. Well, when we've talked about those, a lot of mixed opinions, okay? But when it comes to the Dulles International Airport, not mixed reviews. I think everyone across the board was like, yeah, I'm shocked that he brought up Dulles, but yeah, Dulles should be on that list of update and expansion. It is a really old airport. And when you get there, it's outdated. The shuttle buses that are actually taking you to the terminal, archaic. It's weird. Everyone complains about it. It's a nightmare. Okay, Dulles, I'm sorry. It is a nightmare. And I think about everybody that has a disability that travels and have to get on those shuttles. Trust me, I know. I travel with somebody who has a disability. Nightmare. It is a nightmare. So when I hear everybody talk about this $22 billion project to renovate and expand Dulles, everyone has been like, yeah, I don't know what the timing, we could have focused on other things, but I support it. And I got to say, I think I support it as well. But could that money be better used elsewhere? For sure. Money that could be diverted to healthcare. But as somebody who uses Dulles often, I think I do support this one. Okay, not just because it affects me personally. Think of how many people fly in and out of that airport. That is the major one international airport in DC. So think of the heads of state who fly into that. And it is embarrassing. And trust me, we heard a lot about it on social media when we had the World Cup here, people that were flying into the nation's capital. We have the BWI airport in Baltimore, and then we have Dulles. Well, Dulles is old, and we heard it from everybody. Like, what are these alien pods that we're traveling to get back to the main terminal? Yes, we know. Awful. They're awful. So yes, I do support that one. Didn't support a lot of them. I still don't think that our U.S. Treasury should be a personal checkbook, and it does seem like it is to Trump with many of his renovations. So I feel like we need to reel it in a bit. I don't understand why he's suddenly going after the airport. I think you should be focused on many other things, but I think I just support this one because it really does need an update. It is awful, but Trump is defending this renovation just as much as he's defended renovating the new Air Force One, right? So, and we have now just unveiled the newly gold leafed horses on the bridges in DC. So the renovations, the gold gilding on everything that Trump touches continues. So the renovations go on. So, I mean, some of the beautification projects aren't bad. It's timing and the priority of them, right? It just seems like there's so many other things that we should really be focused on. Gas, economy, the workforce, you name it. The list keeps going. Don't even get me going on the war. The list keeps going on and on. But evidently, so does his list of things to renovate. So there we are. Who knows what's going to happen next and what's going to pop up on his list next. Who knows? But he loves talking about it. And just like he was talking about literally everything this weekend as he was on the speech circuit, ranging from the White House Correspondents' Dinner and to the speech at the memorial for Senator Lindsey Graham. So let's get over to there. We had the do-over of the White House Correspondents' Dinner last week, and Trump gave a very long speech. Interesting. I always know your audience and read the room. Clearly, Trump missed that memo because his speech and his jokes, which seemed more like a roast, it didn't really land well. The odd silence was deafening at times, and it just, the jokes did not land. You can tell, and in my personal opinion, that Trump is not used to giving jokes and that type of speech in front of crowds that aren't yes men and definitely aren't his supporters. It definitely fell on deaf ears. Awkward at times. And even Trump, when it didn't land, it was like, who wrote these jokes? I was questioning that as well. I'm like, did you use a chatbot like AI? One of those groups that you support that you speak so highly of. Did they write your jokes? But it does seem like there was a comedian that was helping the speechwriter write them. I don't know. Did not land well. Terrible. Still going after Caitlin Collins as she was winning an award. It was just weird. But it did go on, thankfully, safely, but just weird setting. And the roast continues. And then he was giving a roast. It was actually a eulogy for Senator Lindsey Graham, who he always said that they were very close. They were good friends. He gave a speech there, which I understand. Somber times, sad moments. You want to provide a little bit of levity in those tough times. But it seemed like a roast, odd, and didn't land well there either. And you can see some people trying to do that awkward. And it's weird. When they're looking around to see if anybody else is laughing. Yeah, maybe not the best delivery, but he continued, and unapologetic Trump continues, and the show goes on. But then it continued. He's talked to Netanyahu at the White House this week, and also President Vladimir Zelensky, who actually flew through a war zone to pay his respect to Senator Lindsey Graham's memorial service. I mean, I said I was not necessarily the biggest fan of Senator Lindsey Graham and a lot of his platform and much of his agenda. Not a huge fan. Not saying all, but not most. But there is something to be said when the leader of a foreign country flies through a war zone to pay his respects, to show up to your memorial service, because he said that you were such an advocate of the Ukrainian people and their efforts to continue their fight for freedom. So there's something to be said there. And a tip of the hat for that, for sure. Lindsey Graham was there just like the day before in Ukraine, still fighting for the rights, like literally the day before he died. So, I mean, he was fighting on their behalf all the way till the end. So that is a powerful statement when you have Zelensky showing up. Very, very powerful. And then to go to that, for that moment of memory and honor from Senator Lindsey Graham, which I have to say was a lovely service. Of course, at first it started off, they had a rare memorial for him in the rotunda of the Capitol building. Then there was another service at the National Cathedral, which is just an absolutely gorgeous backdrop to pay the respects there at the National Cathedral. Just a beautiful, beautiful location. Very nice to house so many diplomats there. So it was just a really nice service from her who dedicated his life for so many decades to the people of South Carolina and the people of the U.S. a very lovely service to remember that man. But it weirdly was something that Zelensky was there. And then following him paying his respect for Senator Graham, then he went over to speak with Trump. So we'll see if there's a positive push forward in that relationship with Ukraine. After Trump met with Zelensky, then he met with Netanyahu of Israel. I gotta say, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall in the Oval Office in that conversation. We still don't really know what's going on with the war with Iran. We are still caught in this rinse and repeat cycle of escalation, then pullback, escalation, then pullback, and then there's a little bit of smack talking. Like if you don't open the Strait, and I'm paraphrasing here, this is Trump. If you don't open the Strait of Hormuz, then we're gonna blow you to a place you've never seen before, and I'm paraphrasing there, but that's kind of the threats that we're getting from the administration are, again, we don't really know where we are. We don't really know where we stand right now with negotiations, right? So the memorandum of understanding is dead. Not going further. So are we starting a new agreement? Are we trying to repatch that one? And we're not really getting a lot of feedback from our administration, kind of where we are standing or what the plan is now or moving forward. But Iran is making a statement saying we are not negotiating at this time. So is Kushner and Witkoff going to continue to work this process? Because it doesn't seem like we're getting very far. And where are we going to go? Like, is this going to eventually end up with boots on the ground? Is this? Because no one wants that. And Trump has even said this is not what he wants. But is this the direction it's going to go? Because we are still in this standstill with the Strait. It's at a crawl and there's no negotiation on the table. And it doesn't seem like we are getting out of this conflict anytime soon. The American people need something more because we are frazzled. We are tired. And I don't think at this point anybody believes that the administration, that these talks are moving forward, that we are progressing nicely, because it does seem like we are in this constant loop of rinse and repeat where the strikes escalate, then we pull back. Then we start to have talks, and you tell us we move forward, and then the strikes continue. And then we pull back, and then we start to talk again, and we're moving forward. How are we supposed to believe this when we are here every few days, right? It's a bad thing. U.S. journalists and media are waiting for a statement from the Iranian government to confirm if this is fact or not from our own administration. And the only thing that Iran's doing is like, we'll just wait and not say anything. Right? That's the most powerful statement, is we don't have to say anything. And when they do, they're like, there's no talk. So if they're saying nothing's happening, there's a major credibility issue here, right? So we have nothing. This is the American people. We turn on the news to get some idea of what's happening. And it seems like the journalists have no idea. And they are asking the questions now. It feels like we have no control and we have no idea. And the horse has left the stable. And where do we go from here? And it just seems like we can't walk this back in, because now we brought our friends into this conflict. We're in it too far. It's now too widespread. And how do you get out of this? And it doesn't seem, even if you said now how do you do this quickly? And I had to tell you, Trump, the poll numbers continue to come out, and I always say I hate the polls, but I've never seen numbers so low. The people are feeling it, and now they're reacting to it. And we are approaching the primaries. What do the next few months look like for your party? And will they continue to back you? And will you have the numbers? That is what we're all kind of waiting to see. And this is playing out right now with the whole Todd Blanche confirmation. All right. We still don't know what's going on there, because he has still not been confirmed. Attorney General Todd Blanche is the nominee. We had his Senate confirmation hearings last week. We had the grandstanding. We had the questions. And we had two major holdouts for the Republican Party. We had Tillis of North Carolina and Corwin of Texas. Big holdouts. And they said they will not confirm Todd Blanche as Attorney General until they have a meeting. That he will not go forward with this anti-weaponization fund and the whole IRS not auditing the Trump family moving forward. Those are the two big things they needed to have in writing from Todd Blanche for them to confirm him, right? They wanted it in writing. He said in testimony that it was dead, the Weaponization Act. Still a little unclear about the whole not moving forward with the deal with the IRS to not have any audits moving forward about Trump and his family, about future businesses and audits, that kind of weird settlement. Well, still a little murky there. Tillis and Corwin wanted that in writing. Well, there was a back and forth behind the scene meetings with Todd Blanche. And they said they were not going to do anything and they were not going to move forward with their vote until they got it in writing. Well, it did seem like this morning, on Monday morning, that maybe there was a way forward, that there was going to be some arrangement, that they were going to get that in writing. Well, okay. I think we all want that. We all want to know that that anti-weaponization fund that would come from taxpayer money to bail out people that got in trouble for storming the Capitol on January 6th. I think we all kind of wanted that, right? I think that was a smart move. Well, and this whole and also I think everybody wants in writing about this, not moving forward with this, the IRS not auditing Trump and his family about their businesses moving forward. I think everybody wants to know that that is confirmed, that that is dead in the water. We all want that. But is that it? Hello? Are we not going to bring up the mishandling of the Epstein files? Okay. I still want some legal analysts to tell me, is the DOJ not literally breaking the law every day, that they're in violation of not releasing all the information following the Epstein file? I don't know, but I really would like a legal expert to answer this question, because it does seem like they're breaking the law there, right? Not everything has been released. And what about the mishandling there? And wasn't Todd Blanche in charge of that whole sweetheart deal, transferring Ghislaine Maxwell? I just don't know how you can confirm somebody who has the history of being Trump's personal attorney, who also has a history of these behind the scenes deals, transferring this convicted felon to a lesser secure facility, right? For some arrangement that we still don't know about. And then the mishandling of the whole Epstein files. So that has been said. I just don't know how you can confirm this, man, because it just doesn't seem like he has the interest to serve the American people that he took the oath for, right? It seems like he's serving more personal interests to Trump and to himself. That is my opinion. That is my opinion, but I do not know how they can confirm this man. And anyone that confirms him, your vote is public record, and we can all go back and refer to saying, you put this guy through. And if you were a senator that voted to push through the whole Epstein files bill and have Trump sign it, if you voted for that, how can you confirm him? It is just a slap in the face to the victims, to everybody that's worked on it. And how can you trust this? And him saying that he's going to have it in writing, that he's never going to revive this anti-weaponization fund and this IRS settlement to no longer audit Trump and his family moving forward with business dealings. I just don't see how that can follow through, because I feel like if this goes through and he is confirmed, some way, somehow, this will come back later on. We can get around it, and they will. They will. Because Trump has made it clear he doesn't want to drop the anti-weaponization. So come on, Congress, do something. And Republican Party, this is your chance to do something right. And Tillis, Corwin, you have been a holdout. You are not coming back. You're not running for re-election. This is the time to step up and do something right for the American people. Please, please, Susan Collins of Maine, you're worried about your position. Do something right. Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, you guys are always holdout. Do something right. Please, this is my opinion, but I just don't see how you can confirm this man. It doesn't seem like he's here to represent the American people. He didn't fight for the Epstein victims. It doesn't seem like that to me. If so, tell us what happened in that interview with Ghislaine Maxwell. Why was she transferred? Even Pam Bondi, the former attorney general, does not know. Okay? If she doesn't know, what do you know? I want to know. We all want to know. And it is really interesting that Trump says he likes the weaponization. He'd like to keep it on the table. But he even said that he's willing to postpone the nomination, withhold it for now until after the midterms. So that could be quite a risk because we don't know if the Republicans will still hold the majority following the midterms. We'll see. But it makes me so mad. They've already pushed through so many nominees that I believe shouldn't have gotten the job. Like Kash Patel, they just passed through the new DNI. The list goes on. RFK Jr. at the CDC. Come on. What a disaster. A lot of these nominations that you voted through, you can see what the effect this has had on our government and the American people. We have a cyclospora outbreak. Measles cases are on the rise. Look what has happened to the people that you have already pushed through that are nominees that you confirmed. So, okay, let's take an action at this one. When I see these committees and oversight hearings that are constantly happening, I just see the internal fighting with members of Congress. This explains why we have the most ineffective Congress in history and why nothing's getting done. And you wonder why the poll numbers are tanking so heavily for certain parties. So get out and vote. But this is where we're going to take a nice little turn into our world of entertainment. And speaking of ass-kicking conflict, I just happened to catch the beginning of the series Lucky on Apple TV Plus, and that's with Anna Taylor-Joy, and she's a very diverse actress. We've seen her in a lot of different things, from The Queen's Gambit to the movie The Menu to The Gorge. I mean, she's been in a lot, but this is full action role for her. I mean, it is high octane, dynamic, full on hand-to-hand combat. I can't imagine how long she had to train for some of these scenes and the choreography and some of these fight scenes. I've really enjoyed it so far, but I'm telling you, like, this girl who's maybe 90 pounds wet is getting her ass kicked and kicking ass. So definitely a good show to watch. I've enjoyed it so far. Couple episodes in. Go watch it. New episode drops every Wednesday. Apple TV Plus. I like it so far. But yeah, it's definitely a departure from some of the other roles that we've seen Anna Taylor-Joy in. But I'm telling you, full on action. I needed something new, and you'll definitely get it with the show Lucky. But we're talking about conflict, action, fighting. Well, there's one show I haven't talked about in a while. I was a little frustrated with it, so I put it on pause, put it on the back burner. But now I'm going to come back to it because we've had a revamp. It's gone to a new network. I like it a lot. And that is Married at First Sight. Yes, I've talked about it many, many times. Not so much into the U.S. show Married at First Sight. I like Married at First Sight Australia. It's my favorite. I love the dinner scenes, the dinner parties, the fighting. That's how they get into it. I fast forward through most of the season. I go straight to where the couples meet each other at the altar for the first time. Then I fast forward it to the honeymoon, because we all know you really truly get to know somebody when you travel with them. So about day 2 into the honeymoon, where the novelty, the excitement wears off, and they have been around each other for more than 24, 48 hours. That's when they start to see each other and start to realize, do they like each other, not like each other? The fighting starts, or the lovey-dovey starts, right? So then we fast forward to that scene. Then we fast forward a couple weeks into it, where they now get their apartment and doing the trial run of the marriage. And then fast forward to the deciding day, right? But Australia, you've got me hooked through all of it, because you sprinkle it through. We have the couples to have meetings, they have dinner nights out, and then they have large scale dinner parties. And the dinner parties is where the action kicks in. And I tell you, I love those scenes like nobody else. And where they're having the dinner party, and then the experts are watching from a different location and kind of giving their analysis of what's happening at the dinner party and what's going on with the couples. Love that so much. And I really do enjoy the Australian experts. Well, we didn't have that set up. We had our peppers and some of our other experts that we had on many, many seasons at Married at First Sight. But Married at First Sight is no longer on Lifetime, right? They're on Lifetime for many, many years. Now they're on Peacock. And NBC, Peacock, I don't know if you've listened to my show and heard my cries, because I have definitely put it out there in the universe that Married at First Sight Australia is the best version of Married at First Sight. And that's what I want to see. And now that you have gone to Peacock NBC, you have revamped it and you have gone all in. We go straight to the couples meeting at the altar. We go to the honeymoon, and yes, to the dinner parties where the experts are giving their analysis. So you are giving me the full version of Australia. Now, we are only several episodes in, and I'm getting a little bit more involved with the couples. Feel about the experts yet. We have 2 new experts. The one expert is from the Married at First Sight UK spinoff. So I'm not familiar with him, but he's got a history with the show. Not familiar with the new woman, but I'm here for give them some time to settle in. But I like the new layout. I like it a lot. We've already had 1 dinner party, so that went well. But you can already see cracks in some of the couples. And like I said, we're really fresh into the season. Are they going to bring some new couples later in the season like they did in the previous seasons? I don't know. But I hope that they stick to the Married at First Sight Australia blueprint. So far, so good. I was really, really jonesing for Australia. You kept me on hiatus. Weird rules where I couldn't watch any of the streaming services from the Australia over here in the US. I was upset. I was hurt. But now that you have given me this, Peacock, NBC, you have heard the cries of Polywine, myself, and so many others, and you have answered our calls. Thank you. Thank you so much. I will be watching it, and I will be giving you my analysis. And and I want to see some outtakes. Can I get some outtakes? But I will be recapping it for you as well, and so many other shows, series, documentaries. We'll be getting all of that next time. But thank you so much for joining us on the show. Go check us out on Instagram at PollyWineTime, at TikTok at PollyWine, and go listen, like, and subscribe to PollyWine wherever you get your podcast. Thank you so much. Have a great day. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.